Drew Brees will be part of the NBC team. He was the MVP of Super Bowl 44, now part of the NBC Sports Super Bowl pregame show that will start on Sunday. That's a long day for you, Drew. Are you ready? How do you prepare for something like this?
We've been spent a lot of yesterday at SoFi, and we'll spend a lot of the next 2 days there as well, just going through the sets and rehearsals and everything that we want to talk about and cover for the fans tuning in prior to the game and during halftime and postgame.
Tougher to prepare for a Super Bowl playing or as a broadcaster?
I'd much rather be playing in it. There's certainly butterflies both ways. It was uncharted territory the first time we played in a Super Bowl, and so you're trying to navigate what your process is going to be for those 2 weeks. The first week is spent at home, and then the second week, at the host site, and ours was in Miami. So it was a pretty crazy atmosphere, but felt like we managed it well, and obviously had a big win against the Colts. But yeah, here, look, the weather's cooperating. This is about as beautiful as you could ever imagine down here in Southern California, LA, for this week. I know the COVID, still lingers a little bit, so it's not maybe as crazy as it normally would be, at a Super Bowl host site. But it certainly feels like everybody's having a good time, though.
When you run into Peyton Manning, what's the conversation like?
Well, we did have a bet not too long ago on the Purdue-Tennessee Music City Bowl game. And initially it was all right. What are we going to bet? All right, let's do a nice crisp $100 bill with the other guy's signature on it, sent in the mail. And Purdue won that game in like triple overtime. It was a crazy game, probably one of the better bowl games that we saw. And I hadn't received my $100 yet. So I'm like, Peyton, what's the deal? I said, now you either send me the $100 or you take me duck hunting. Cause I hear he's got a pretty good duck hunting spot. So he's like, all right, deal. So sounds like we're going duck hunting instead. So I'll let you know how it goes.
Have you ever brought up the Super Bowl that you played against him?
No. That was a good memory for me. Maybe not for him.
Can you joke about it? Can you joke with him about beating him in a Super Bowl?
I don't know if we're there yet. I wouldn't. I don't know if I would want that if I were on the other side. But no, we've got a great relationship, and we've had fun. I made an appearance on the Peyton and Eli broadcast this year. We didn't talk Super Bowl. We talked a bunch of other stuff.
Were you aware that Sean Payton was going to start the second half of the Super Bowl with an onside kick?
Oh yeah. We knew that from the start of the week. He had given it a nickname, so the name of the play was Ambush, rightfully named, and he basically said it's not a matter of if we're going to call this, it's when. And so from the very beginning, he set the tone that don't get nervous, don't get tight as to whether we're going to call us. We are, and it has to work when we do, because we're going to have to steal a possession in this game if we want to win. We knew the firepower that was on the other side of the ball with Peyton Manning. And if you recall, they jumped out to a 10-0 lead after the first two drives. And then we settled it down and brought it to 10-6 by halftime, got a couple field goals. And then here we are kicking the ball off to them in the second half and felt like they'll never expect it. And sure enough, they did it, and we got it, and worked out well.
Okay, but you're planning, he's going to do this to start the second half, or at some point there's going to be an onside kick.
Yeah, so we didn't know when,
okay.
but he said, we are going to call this in the game. Like it's going to happen, so stay ready. Stay ready. And so we go in at halftime, and Super Bowl halftime takes forever, right? It's twice as long as a normal halftime, maybe 40 minutes. So, we go in, and literally before we can take our pads off and start getting ready for the second half, he says, hey, ambush is coming. And so all of a sudden it just starts spreading through the locker room, like ambush is coming, And so there was this level of excitement to start that second half. We're supposed to be taking off our pads and eating turkey sandwiches and just, kind of kicking our feet up. But all of a sudden it just changed the mood a bit.
Wait, you're eating at halftime?
Well, like I said, normally you would. Normally you're just in there, maybe quick snack, adjustments, boom, you're out the door. It's like a 12-minute halftime. But I mean, now with the halftime show and just everything that's taken place, that's as much a part of the spectacle as the game. So you have a lot of time, and they tell you don't get too worked up. Kick your feet up, take your pads off, get a bite to eat. It's going to be a while.
If you could give advice to Joe Burrow or Matthew Stafford, you had to pick one. Who would you think could use your advice on Sunday?
Well, I'm sure it's Joe Burrow, because Stafford has McVay and the Rams who were there a few years ago, right? So at least there's some experience as to what that schedule was in the process, and just maybe how to handle it from a quarterback's perspective. Listen, on the flip side, I mean, Joe Burrow's played a bunch of big games and national championships, and but I'd say just being a young player, especially once you begin to feel what the routine is of a regular season game, a playoff game. The Super Bowl is totally different from the perspective of the week of preparation. I think that's really where you just have to formulate your plan and your process, because it is a long 2 weeks, and it's one of those where it's easy to get distracted. There's a lot of stuff going on. I mean, even as the little thing is like who you're getting tickets for the game, right? Everybody's reaching out to you wanting tickets, and you got to. So my advice was always, and I received this from other people, was get all the tickets situated by Monday. Tuesday's media day, like embrace the media day, like have fun with that, because whether you like it or not, that's an obligation. So enjoy it. Opportunity to talk about you and your team. If you're going to do a dinner with your teammates, which is what we would do every week during the season, we would usually do it on Thursday night. Well, don't do it on Thursday night, because where are you going to go and be able to have a nice dinner without just, a ton of distractions? So we did that earlier in the week. So Monday night in South Beach, we all went out as like an offense and had the greatest dinner ever. I mean, it was like a night to remember. But it then just allowed us to kind of put that behind us, and all right, here we go. We're focused on the game now.
What made it the greatest dinner?
Well, because Coach Payton was paying for it. Because Coach Payton gave me his credit card and said, "Y'all have a good time." Because we had been bugging him all year. Because I was paying for a lot of them, and then some of the veteran guys, and so we had been bugging Sean, like, Sean, when are you going to buy a dinner for the O-line? And he's like, "Oh, it's coming." And finally, we make it to the Super Bowl. Like, Sean, this is it. Like, you have to buy this one because you missed all the others. And he's like, "All right, here's my credit card." He literally gave me his credit card. I'm like, "This is dangerous, Coach. We're going to South Beach. You know that, right?" So we go to, I think we go to Joe's, and we get so many of those like snow crab claws, which are like $90 a pop, right? I mean, we had like platters of these things spread out.
What was the tab? How much did it come to, Drew?
It was probably 25 grand. It was easy. But here's what happened. You can ask Sean about this. So I felt guilty. I felt guilty about it. So I ended up splitting the tab with him. I pulled my credit card out. I'm like, all right, just split it between these two, But yeah, we crushed it. It was fun.
He's Drew Brees. He's joining us on behalf of NBC, their pregame show, and also PointsBet, the official sports betting partner of NBC Sports. How aware were you of the point spread when you played in games?
You know what? Never really. But that Super Bowl, it's funny because Sean was looking for every way to try to give us confidence, going into that game. That season for the Colts was an unbelievable season. I mean, they were really like an undefeated team. They were 14-2, but they had really lost their last two games on purpose. If you recall, they would play their starters for the first half and then sit them for the last 2 years. or the last 2 games. Because you remember what happened in some of the previous years where, they felt that pressure of like the undefeated seasons in 2004 and 5 and others. So they were really like an undefeated team when we played them. And so there was this feeling like, man, these guys are unbeatable. Or at least that's, I think, what the media and everybody wanted to try to communicate. And so I think for us, it was like, listen, Sean was like, I think we're the better team. And here's why. And here's what America thinks too. I think the point spread early in the week was maybe like 10 points, and then it crept down to 9 and 8 and 7. And by game time, it was like 5.5 or something like that. But bottom line, it was trickling down in our favor. And I think he wanted to show that, you know what, it's not just the guys in this room that believe this. Like, you have the power of the Who Dat Nation. You have the power of this, the country too, feeling like, you know what, there's something special with you guys. Like, you guys can do this.
What bothers you more? Does it bother you that the Bengals are Who Day and the Saints were Who Dat? Let's clear this up. You got a problem with the Bengals?
No. I like our chant better than theirs.
Okay.
Who dat say they're going to beat them Saints. There's obviously a little like Cajun, Southeast Louisiana kind of slang with that, right? And what helped me out is Who Dey, and it's not Who Dey going to beat them Bengals, or how exactly do they say it? And then it's nobody, right?
You like that?
Yeah. Listen, I love when you have chants and stuff that the fans can do in the stadium that gets it riled up. Like we Tarico and I broadcast the wild card game at Cincinnati when they played the Raiders. And that was my first time hearing it in the stadium. And I was like, I love it. That's similar to what we do in the Superdome to get everybody rocking before the game. So I love that. Just like you're in Kansas City and the home of the Chiefs, right? Like just stuff that brings the fans together. I love it. Yeah.
PointsBet, the official sports betting partner of NBC Sports, the only sports book to offer live in-game, same-game parlay options for the big game. Available in 10 states, recently launched in New York and Pennsylvania. Which one of Brady's records bothers you the most that he took from you?
Oh, man. Let's see. Did he took the completions record? That's all right. He can have that. Took the yards record, right? He had the touchdowns already. He's lucky I got hurt for 9 games. Aaron Donald, messed up this thumb, was out for 5. And then one of his teammates, it was actually William Golston. He sacked me. He's the one who fractured all those ribs to start. And then one of those D linemen from the Niners fractured the other 3 the next week. So his teammate helped him out, honestly. Or else I might have had the touchdown record.
You think Brady's done? He said never say never.
Oh, he left the door open, obviously. Look, there is it'll always live with us. All right. It'll always live with us. I mean, look, if you told me right now, like if one of these teams, if something happened to the quarterback and they're like, hey, we need a quarterback to play, we come in and play, I'd play in a second. You're wired that way, man. You're wired.
Yeah, but Sean reached out to you this season. How close were you to coming back and playing for the Saints?
I was very close. I was very close to coming back and playing for that one game. I mean, there was some other factors and other circumstances, but yeah, I mean, I think it always lives inside you, that fire, and I think you're just wired a certain way, and I think you can flip the switch. So you find other ways. I think that's what's hard about retirement is you have to find other ways to channel that competitive drive and that fire, right? And I wouldn't say that's been easy, but it's the way we're wired, and that's what we have to find.
Thanks again for joining us this season. Have fun on Sunday, and don't think about the number of people watching you. It's only like you know,
Yeah, it's
100 million.
only like half a billion.
It's not a whole billion. Like, it's just a half a billion. And you know what? Nobody's going to be on Twitter. Nobody's going to be judging you. Don't worry about it. Just have fun.
That's exactly what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna have fun, talk ball, make fun of make fun of make fun of what I see. No, it'll be fun.
Thanks again. It's great to see you, and thanks again for joining us.
You too, Dan. Thanks.
That's Drew Brees, a former Saints quarterback, Super Bowl 44 MVP, and the pregame festivities starting, it says the pregame show at 1 Eastern on Sunday, NBC and Peacock.